The whole health system in Ukraine is under attack.
They took people in the hospital, both doctors and patients, hostages.
Each day, escalation is growing, and more people are killed.
We are seeing a pulverization campaign, a bombardment campaign of grotesque inhumanity.
This is a war that we have not seen in the European theater since World War II.
In the war's first 3 weeks, we witnessed an astonishingly swift and massive escalation of indiscriminate violence by the Russian military against Ukrainian society, its medical system, and other civilian infrastructure. Russia's reign of terror stems from its abject failure to achieve its military aims on the battlefield. It stems from its own military doctrine. The shock of a grinding war of attrition and the shock of Ukrainians' fierce nationalism and resistance fuel Moscow's will to destroy Ukrainian society.
Over the last 17 days of the conflict, we've seen 47 events of violence against healthcare. 29 health facilities were damaged. 24 health workers have been injured, and 8 we know of have been killed. But these are just the numbers. The true tragedy lies in the humanitarian impact of people affected by this violence.
Mariupol became very similar to Aleppo, where everything is destroyed. Unfortunately, we lost connections with our partners there, so we are not sure are they alive or not at the moment. This is the terrible feeling.
Mariupol is currently with the streets of the city are covered with dead bodies. I never thought this ever would be possible in Europe in the 21st century.
The point about impunity is that it feeds on itself. And as long as impunity is unchallenged, we're not in steady state, we're in a dynamic state where impunity gets worse. All of our humanitarian experience at the International Rescue Committee speaks to the need to establish clear access routes by working with local Ukrainian partners. There's civil society organizations, medical organizations, welfare organizations. And this is a gargantuan task. It's a very, very difficult task. It may become a very prolonged task, but it's a vital task, not least because access to humanitarian aid is a legal right in international law.
The Russians have come under considerable strain militarily. They've lost between 6,000 and 8,000 Russian soldiers. These are just fatalities. One generally would assume a 3-to-1 fatality to casualty rate, so 3 times that number for Russian casualties. This means that in order to clear neighborhoods and to move maneuver forces into areas, they're going to increasingly lay waste to cities to try to limit the number of casualties and fatalities to Russian soldiers. So the two are intimately connected now. The flow of weapons are coming in from NATO countries into Ukraine, in many cases in the exact same routes that we're seeing refugees leave the country or internally displaced people move into Western Ukraine, which means that there is a growing danger as Russia widens this war in response to the weapons and other material flowing in, that it will put at great risk individuals fleeing from the conflict.
The human price has reached extraordinary levels and may soon go much higher. That's the dangerous moment we have entered. The Russian siege lit a fuse. It has caused enormous civilian casualties, displaced over 7 million, turned cities into carcasses, and sent 3 million refugees fleeing. It has also reinforced Ukrainians' resolve. Putin has emerged as the new Stalin, cornered and more dangerous than ever imagined. He cannot win, and he cannot afford to lose. The terror has drastically reduced the access to humanitarian relief by Ukraine's 40 million citizens who remain at peril. These acts are war crimes, increasingly recognized as such by the world's leaders. The human price is geopolitical. The notion that the United States and its allies are not fighting the Russian military is becoming less and less meaningful. The United States and its allies are profoundly invested in both bringing humanitarian relief to those in peril and to aiding the Ukrainians in defeating the Russian invaders. That is the war that we are in. The war is likely to widen within Ukraine and to spread across borders. That will raise the human price profoundly, and it will further raise pressures upon the United States and its allies to intervene militarily to protect civilians.